people. Jude the Puppy Nanny here. Last week we talked about starting at the very beginning. And then now that the decision has been made, and that is that we're getting a puppy, there are 5 big W's to consider. And just so you know, I too am in the process of considering the 5 big W's and all the other things relative to getting a new puppy. I lost my old guy 2 years ago, Jack, and I haven't been ready. I'm still not quite ready, but I'm ready to start thinking about getting a puppy. And since I live with my family, daughter, husband, 3 children, dog, and an in-home dog daycare and boarding, other people have to have some say in my decision. So I have a lot of things to consider. So this is helpful to me, and I hope it's helpful to you. So let's get started talking about the 5 big W's. You've decided that it's a puppy. Now, what next? Here are the 5 W's. What kind of puppy will you get? Where will we get it? And when will we get it? And who will be the PIC? And where are we getting a puppy? Well, what kind of puppy are you going to get? You know, all puppies are cute, and they make them cute for a reason. It's really important that you choose one that's suited to your lifestyle. Really, if you're a pretty sedentary family, I don't suggest a high energy dog like a Dalmatian or a Border Collie or the ones that need so much exercise. On the other hand, if you're an extremely active family who likes to go on long hikes and you're constantly being busy, perhaps a Bulldog or a Great Dane is not exactly suited to your lifestyle. So take a little while, do your homework. You can check on Google or with any one of the kennel clubs, and they'll give you descriptions of the various breeds. Now, that's not to say I think you should get a purebred. That's entirely your decision, because mixed breeds, also known as mutts, or they were, are good too. And lots of times when you have a cross or a mix, you improve some of the hereditary health issues in some of the purebreds. Just entirely your decision, but again, don't overlook the idea. And where will you get it? Now, the only consideration, the really truly consideration that I have for you is please don't buy from a pet store. They keep puppy mills in business. Puppy mills treat the females and the males too. They overwork them, they overbreed them, conditions are less than ideal. So you do want to think about where you're going to get the puppy. If you're buying a purebred, you'll probably want to get it from a breeder, and you can check out the breeder's credentials pretty much anywhere, and I can tell you that breeders of purebreds are very proud of what they produce, so check around. You can get a puppy from a local shelter or the SPCA. They don't always have puppies, but they do from time to time. And perhaps your neighbor or friend, perhaps their dog has had puppies. That's another place where you can get one. And the big question is, can you visit the puppy before he's old enough to come home? If not, if you find one online or on Kijiji, check out where they are, the people and the pups, and if they're within visiting distance, then by all means go and visit the puppy, talk to the people, and so on before you bring the puppy home. If you can't do that, then I would suggest that you move on to something else. The other alternative, of course, would be to Skype, so that you can again ask the questions and see the puppy with its birth mom and its siblings. And this is something that I'm not sure we all think about carefully enough. I certainly have been the last few days when it's been so bitterly cold, which is very unusual where I live. So you do want to consider the season in your area, because whether you think about it now or not, weather is a factor, because you too will be going outside to potty train. And I don't know how much you like going out in torrential rain or bitterly freezing cold, but puppies are not going to be very enthusiastic about that. So you do want to sort of hedge your bets, if you will, and choose a time when it will work. I think ideally, depending on where you live, but sort of between March and September are good times to get a puppy, I'm not telling you when to get it. I'm just saying this is what I've figured out. And because in the 2 or 3 weeks that it should take to have your potty training pretty much handled, especially if you use a crate and a timer, you will have avoided the worst of the bad weather. And the other thing, when you're thinking about the timing, you want to think about your family's activities and plans for at least for the first 6 to 8 months after you get the puppy. So when would the most of the family be at home, for example, during summer vacation, at spring break? And are there any ongoing time-consuming commitments that can't be rescheduled? You know, everybody, it leads busy lives these days. All the adults in the family and the kids in the family, and uh, because you're going to bring in a small creature that needs a lot of help and training at the very beginning, uh, you all will need to make some time to fit that into your schedule. And then there's who will be the PIC. And the PIC is the person in charge. Of course, everyone will have a part to play with the puppy. Even if you have very small children, with your supervision, they can learn to handle the puppy, and they can certainly play with the puppy. They can probably help you feed the puppy, which will slow down the process, there's no doubt, but they can, and with your help too, they can hand feed the pup, which is really good too. But no matter who is in charge, and no matter what part anyone is playing, someone has to be the person to organize, direct, and check that puppy's needs are being met. It doesn't matter who it is. It's most often mom. Will it be mom in your house? I would say to people, because it so often is mom, if mom doesn't like dogs, don't get one. And the other question, and this is an important one, why have we decided on a puppy? Now, that was the purpose of your original family meeting about bringing a dog into your lives, and you've presumably, by the time you get to the stage of the 5 Ws, you've already figured out why it is a puppy you want and not a senior and not a rescued adult and so on. But I do just want to point out that the answer, because we want one, that's just not good enough. And the reason I say that is because puppies grow very quickly to be dogs, and they live on average 10 or 10 plus years. So it's a huge commitment. Living, breathing creatures are not disposable. And if you can't commit to keeping this puppy to the best of your known now knowledge, for its lifetime, then you really want to give it a second thought and perhaps do some volunteering at your local shelter so that you can get your dog fix. Offer to look after a friend's dog when they go away so you can have one live in your home and see how that works. And that way you will find out whether this is for you before you bring home the new family member. And really, if you find out that you're not prepared to make this commitment, then maybe what you want is a big stuffed toy. Do be prepared. I say this, I think I said it last week. Have a plan. Sit down, have a plan. In fact, I actually suggest committing this plan to paper. And my last point on this page will have something else to say about that. But have a plan. Decide who's going to do what and how it's going to happen, because the day when you have a puppy, things get turned upside down, and it starts with, the early morning before everybody leaves for school or work, late morning, lunchtime, early afternoon, late afternoon, dinner time, after dinner, and bedtime. And there has to be somebody who's going to do the necessary things with puppy during those times. So it's a real good idea if you sit down and figure out who can do what and on what days. And the other thing is, do some research. Google the kind of puppy you're going to get, or if it's a cross and the parentage, then Google both of them, so you'll have some idea of the personality and trainability of the dog that you're about to get. And watch YouTube videos. There's some excellent training videos, and I have to say I have found none better than a young man from New Orleans named Zach George, who has the right positive approach. He talks about bonding and creating a relationship with your dog, and he's a joy to watch. And of course, you can go to judethepuppynanny.com and download your free guide, which is the easy first steps to training your new puppy. And you can do that as far ahead as you like, so you've got it read and you've got an idea of what you're going to be dealing with. And that just covers the first 3 steps of potty training, crate training, and stopping your puppy from jumping up and nipping, which is very useful if you have small children or small grandchildren. To get the rest of the things that you'll want to train your dog to do, like come, sit, stay, leash walk, lie down, and heel perhaps, all of those things are in my book, which is also available at judethepuppynanny.com. Now, I did say at the top, have a plan. Figure out who's going to do what. But the other part of that is also plan to be flexible, because a puppy is a living, breathing creature, you can't put it in a box and hope for the best. It will have needs that you haven't anticipated. It'll have a personality that you couldn't possibly have foreseen. So be prepared to work your plan. And the number one thing with getting a puppy is, as I always say, have fun. That's it for this time.